What's going on, beautiful people? Hope all is well. Um, I was watching this show for the last couple of days, and tonight in particular, it really got me to thinking that I need to really step out the box and say the things that are truly on my mind. I know a lot of you say you already do that, but sometimes I don't. I really censor myself because everybody says you have a brand that you're trying to build and so on and so forth. But the more and more I I look at what people that look like me are doing and are successful at, it's because they're talking that talk. They're talking about the things that trouble them in the world that relate to us. Um, the show that I was watching is called Black as Fuck. Hashtag Black AF is what it is. And I don't know. I think this was maybe the third episode or so, fourth maybe. I'm not sure. I don't remember rather. But Tyler Perry was sitting down with the main character, and he was just talking his talk. And I'm not going to try to repeat it all, but to summarize it, he basically said, and Tyler said it. Who gives a fuck about what other people say, about what white people say? I'm talking in a way that my people understand me and they receive me, and that's it. So going forward, it's going to be a lot more of that. I will be cussing from time to time because I do cuss. I may not speak as properly as I've spoken in the past. I may use a whole lot of slang, but the reality of it is I'm talking to a particular sector of people. I'm talking to my people. Not that not that I'm racist, not that I'm anything of the sort, but I'm talking to the people who think like, look like, act like me, and no one should ever be ashamed of that. Not to say I was ashamed of it, but I held back quite a bit. I have friends who are in the entertainment industry in one capacity or another, and they've actually said, "Hey, watch some of the things you say." But then I'm looking and I'm saying, well, a lot of the people who are successful in that industry and others look like me and say what they want to say. Um, so why can't I? So with that, I want to jump right into this whole thing about Atlanta opening up the state in regards to this COVID-19 pandemic. So I thought about it yesterday when I first heard the governor talk about it, and then I saw the mayor of Atlanta. I heard her speaking on it to Chris Cuomo passionately. And I thought about it and I said, that she's making a lot of sense about she doesn't understand what he's doing and that she needed to have a talk with him. She was very cordial about it. But I was pretty disturbed by the fact that the governor was just readily opening up the state. I don't think no, I know he didn't even consult the mayors. So I'm saying all this to say, you look at uh, how there was talk of testing antidotes and vaccines for this virus in Africa. And the first thing I said was, wow, here we go again, using black people as guinea pigs. Let's think Tuskegee experiment that was done, a couple of decades ago, and all the black men that suffered behind that. And it was decades before the government admitted to this horrific treatment of these men in infecting them and not treating them just to see how they would react. You don't hear things about this when it comes to white people. You actually don't hear it about any race other than black people. So now they're talking about doing it in Africa and testing vaccines in Africa that are supposedly going to fight this COVID-19 virus. I think it's ridiculous. And what I'm happy for is that there are uh, plenty of black people in Africa now that are aware of what's going on. And I say that meaning they've decided to speak up more. In the past, we know either they were silenced, I don't know how, but they were silenced, or they just chose not to speak up due to fear. But with this generation of Africans who are more worldly, they decided that no, I'm going to speak up and I'm going to tell my truth. I'm going to speak my truth. I'm going to tell what I don't like and speak against oppression and everything else. And so I love that. We've been doing it here in America for the longest. So it's high time that we all get together as one and start doing this. And so I applaud my African brothers and sisters that are doing this. But going back to Atlanta, and in comparison to Africa, you look and what is one, if not the, I don't know the stats, but I think this is one of the biggest cities uh, populated by blacks, by African American people in the country, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I might be off a little bit, but at least it's probably the most popular. So, why would Governor Kemp open up Atlanta? Why didn't any other city open up? Why not Wyoming, some place in Montana? Why aren't those states opening up their cities to to this virus? When in fact, you look at most of the reports that we've watched over time, over this time at least, it's been the cities um, populated mostly by white who have not adhered to um, the warnings about this virus that's going on, about this pandemic. They've been partying, on the beaches and in the parks and barbecuing and all those kind of things. Yet most of us have sat back and heeded the warning. Yet when we do that, then not only them but some of our own telling us that we're falling for the okey doke again. I personally have had several people, including my former father-in-law. I've had three friends reach out and say their fathers. A brother that I know, his wife passed away. I have three friends who have suffered through it, and these are all people that I know. See, I'm talking black again. I know. When you say know, when you double up the word, that means you really know. I have friends, these people who I know who are personal friends of mine. Like I can reach out and touch them, and I know that they've suffered through this. So conspiracy or not, 5G or not, that's not the argument. The argument is that it's here, so you have to take the precautions that are required so you don't suffer from it. And we're for the most part, not all of us, for the most part, we're falling back. We're doing the things we need to do so that we can prevent getting it. But in those other communities, they're not. Yet they're looking at Africa to start trying to test vaccines. They're looking at opening up a city like Atlanta, where I presently am, to just open it up to the public again. And then look at the things they're opening. Look at the places, rather. They're opening up beauty salons. They're opening up gyms. They're opening up bowling alleys. Like, what is that? We don't need any of that. But the problem is, led by some ignorance and led by the fact that we're being misled by people talking about conspiracy theories and things like that, we're going to frequent these places. And what's going to happen? You get all of us in these hot boxes where we can now contract it if you don't, or spread it if you have it. And now the situation gets worse. So they talked about New York, and look at New York again, my home. New York is heavily populated by people of color, black, Hispanic, Asian, and everything else. Excuse me. And from every report that I've heard, we're the ones that are suffering the worst. I just don't understand what's going on, and I don't understand why we haven't taken a greater stance on what's happening. So I didn't want this to go 10 minutes. Had about 9 minutes and 15 seconds at this point. I just had to get some stuff off my chest and let you guys know that going forward, the Stark Naked Truth is going to change slightly. I've been gearing it toward having conversations with men. I'm going to add to that. I'm going to be a man with a conversation. So expect uh, a little more rebellion from me as this thing goes forward. I appreciate you all for watching. Please tag some people, share this, hit me in the comments, let me know that you're there. Follow. Much appreciated. Peace and blessings.